So the BMW 310 GS. Who is it for? What do I think of it? And how does it stack up against the competition in that segment? Hang out with me for a few minutes and let's talk about it. What's up everyone? It's Alex. I have been asked a lot lately to talk about the BMW 310 GS, what my thoughts are on it, and what I think about it versus other bikes in the category. What bikes is it competing against? And what kind of a rider is it for? So let's talk about that for a few minutes. And some of those requests are getting a little old now, like maybe a couple months old. So those of you that asked me a while back, I apologize. I have a huge list of video questions I'm trying to get through for you guys to try to answer all of your questions in video form. So sometimes it takes me a little while to get there. I'm sorry, we'll move on. So BMW 310 GS, first off some basics, what is it? So the BMW 310 GS, I have to start this off by saying in my area, these are hard to get your hands on. There's only one BMW dealer anywhere even remotely near me, and he doesn't usually tend to have one. So I have ridden one, but I've only ridden one time, and it was only for about 10 miles. So take that with a grain of salt. My opinions on the motorcycle are gonna be based off of a ride that I only got about 10 miles out of. But I have known a couple of people that have them, so I'm also basing some of this off of what their impressions are from owning the motorcycle. So take all of it with a grain of salt and understand ahead of time, I'm disclosing I only rode one for about 10 miles. The rest of this is all on paper specs and the opinions of two people that I know that do own these motorcycles. So getting into it real quick, real basics on the 310 GS. What you're dealing with on this thing is you're dealing with a small displacement adventure category motorcycle, 313cc single with an interesting rear canted design based off of a previous model. It puts out about 34 horsepower on paper anyway, and somewhere around 21 pounds of torque, or convert that to the metric equivalent. 6-speed transmission as you would expect from a modern motorcycle like that. Chain final drive as you would also expect from a small displacement adventure / dual sport / whatever kind of motorcycle. Retail numbers somewhere around $5,700, but I've seen a lot of people say that they are on sale discounted in their areas, which is kind of interesting for BMW because my local BMW guy basically never discounts brand new BMW motorcycles no matter what it is. So I am glad to hear that some places people do actually discount these, but my local guy that does BMW Ducati, you will never see him marked on a brand new motorcycle. I don't care if it's 2 years old still on his floor. So what the 310 GS really is, which you can probably guess by the GS modifier in the model, which BMW likes to use for adventure bikes, is it is their small displacement, more entry level or small bike lover oriented adventure dual purpose type of motorcycle, right? And for that purpose and in that category, as far as my limited experience goes, it performs very, very well. I have not seen any major reports of major issues with it. It is nice and light. It responds very well. The rear canted cylinder on the engine produces a very interesting kind of a power delivery and an interesting feeling that I think you really will need to ride versus the competition to fully understand and appreciate whether you will like that or not. But I did find it to be relatively smooth for being a single cylinder, torquey enough, produced enough horsepower for the size of motorcycle that it was. It handled very well for what it was. The suspension was nothing just mind-blowingly amazing, but it was good enough for the motorcycle, for the limited riding that I did with it. Keep that in mind. I did not go jump any doubles with it or go anything crazy off-road. I basically just rode it on the street and took it over a couple of curbs just to see how it would handle minor bumps. But it seemed to be perfectly capable for what it was. It was very enjoyable to ride, light, easy handling. Seemed like a good motorcycle that someone could get into wanting an adventure category motorcycle without a lot of fuss and without being difficult to learn on. But also seemed like it would have enough to keep someone happy for a while without getting tired of their motorcycle in 2 weeks and wanting something bigger, right? So it is a good entry-level design in the adventure motorcycle category or dual purpose category, kind of road-oriented dual purpose for BMW. For someone maybe not wanting to go full on like F650 GS, F800, etc. Direct competitors for the motorcycle, I would say in my opinion, would be something like the Kawasaki Versys 300 or Royal Enfield Himalayan, maybe even a Honda CRF 230 Rally Edition or something like that. But I think the biggest competitors probably are like the Himalayan and like the Versys 300. The Himalayan I think is more off-road focused, obviously, and I think that the Versys 300 is maybe more on-road focused than the 310 GS would be. So I would say what this comes down to, and I like all three of these motorcycles kind of equally, and I'm sure there's a couple things I'm forgetting in that category, but those are the two biggest competitors in my mind. If I were looking at a 310 GS, I would also look at, sit on, and ride a Royal Enfield Himalayan and a Kawasaki Versys 300. And in my mind, what it's going to come down to between these three motorcycles, if you want to be more off-road focused and you actually want to do some adventure touring, I think the Himalayan is going to be the best option for you there. It's usually the lowest priced and the most rugged and the biggest engine and the most off-road oriented. If you want to be on the road more with just being able to hit dirt roads and fire roads and stuff like that, 310 GS or Versys 300. The 310 GS is a little bit lighter than the Versys 300. Depending on your area is going to depend on the pricing though. The Versys starts out cheaper, but with what I've heard from discounts on the BMW, if you can get a BMW 310 GS for the same price or less than a Versys 300 or a Himalayan, then I mean, go for it. You're getting a BMW for an incredible price at that point. Between the three motorcycles, if possible in your area, I think you would need to sit on and ride them all. Otherwise, the 310 GS seems to be a very good little package from BMW. I had a good experience with it, and I have not heard of any kind of huge major problems. I'm sure someone will let me know in the comments below if there have been any problems. So let me know what you guys think. Have you ridden a 310 GS? Do you have any experience with it? Let me hear from any 310 GS owners out there. What do you think of your motorcycle? But I think if you're looking at one, you need to look at that, the Himalayan and the 300 Versys at least. Sit on and ride all three and make your mind up from there based on what feels best to you as always. But I have nothing bad to say about it. It is a good little bike in the category, and if you can find it on sale, you might as well, because if you can get a BMW on sale, you're getting usually legendary quality at an affordable price. The maintenance might get you a little bit if you can't work on your own, but that's a whole different discussion. As always, guys, have a great day. Ride safe. I'm Alex. Peace.